Hello, welcome to this week's episode. My name is Dr. Julius Oluwasegun Aroba, your Wealth Financial Entrepreneurship Mind Surgeon. And in this particular masterclass and episode podcast, I'm going to be speaking about the difference between income and wealth. A lot of people have actually intertwined the terminology income and wealth. And when you look at wealth, it's quite different. When you look at income, it's quite different. And now let's go to what the word income is all about. Income is the money you receive when you do and for whatever you do. Income is it's the reward that you receive for whatever you do. Now, with that clarity, it means that if you stop working, it means that if you stop whatever you do, income is never going to come. And income is cash-based, while income does not guarantee wealth. It only pays bills. Now, a lot of people, average people that have lived beyond the myth, and all this only live on income. They never know what is the terminology called wealth. And when you look at this today, a lot of them are struggling and they're suffering because their income cannot take them home. It is an income that is coming, but then it's never taking them to where they're meant to come to. The word in, and it comes in and it goes out at the end of the day. Now, what is wealth? When you look at the word wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, is what you own that keeps working for you without you actually involved in it. Which means wealth is an asset-based and income is cash-based. When we look at these particular terminologies, they are quite different from each other. Income, if it never works, nothing can be paid to you. But for wealth, something can be paid to you. And that is why wealth does not pay bills, it pays for generation. Why income only pays bills from day to day and time to time? You have work that you go to from 9 to 5. When you come back at the end of the week or at the end of the month, or maybe it's per day that they pay you. They pay you whatever hours you've worked for. Now, when you look at that soldier beside you, or perhaps the police station or police stations that are within your area, every one of them go to work from shift to shift. Even you that you're actually watching this, maybe you're a career person. Without you working, no income can come for you. But now, the word asset is not something that is built in one day. And wealth is not built in one day. It takes patience, it takes perseverance, it takes delayed gratification, it takes you delaying everything that you have in life. And it takes you to be able to know that you can be able to do far more when you are looking at the world-class wealth. Even when you stop working in life, wealth, because it's asset-based, those assets that you have can actually be generating income for you. Have you ever thought about that? Imagine if you fall sick today. Yes, your company might pay you for 1 day, 1 month leave, but when it's above 3 month leaves, they won't pay you income, your salary. Somebody once said to me that salary, it is the punishment they pay you to be able to keep you working, to keep you going, so that you can never be able to build your dream. But I don't know if that is what your own terminology of income is. And some say income is what they gives you in terms of money or in terms of an exchange for your time. But it depends on what you commonize it and what you term it to be. And nobody will employ you to become richer in life. Nobody in the universe will employ you to be richer in life or to be wealthy, because they only want you to be able to solve their problem, their time. They want you to be able to put everything that you have, your sweat, your passion, your skills, to sharpen their business and contribute in solving problems. For example, one of my mentors, Robert Kiyosaki, actually mentioned that there is what we call cash flow quadrants, where we have on the 4 quadrant, we have the EBIS, which is E is for employees, people that work from time to time chasing after other people's dream, going to involve their time into it. But I don't know if you're in that cash flow quadrant of the first quadrant, which is employee. I think it is good for you to look at being in the cash flow of the I and S. The second one is what I call self-employed, which is S, the second quadrant table. And one of my mentors also mentioned in the past that self-employed, a lot of people say they are self-employed, but they are self-sabotaged. What does it mean by that terminology? It means that when you say you're self-employed, you are working for yourself. By the end of the day, it is not that you're working for yourself, but you're only chasing the dreams of people that you are meant to, because you don't have control over the time, except you are able to dictate the time and control your time and days and hours for you to be able to get a return in investment. The I quadrant is what I call the Investor's Quadrant. And this is where I always employ all my students, all my mentees, and you that you're watching this video, to look for how you can move from the E model quadrant, from the S quadrant model to the investor model quadrant, which is the third quadrant of cash flow. When you are in the investor cash flow quadrant, which is third quadrant, you're going to be able to invest into people's business, into shares, into assets, because you want to build wealth. And that can actually be giving you a return on investment over the time and over the years. So let's go further. The last one is what I call the business quadrant, which is the B. There is a book by my mentor, which is also Get Rich, Think to Grow Rich. It actually explains more, or Teach to Be Rich by Robert Kiyosaki. I will implore you to go for that book to be able to read more on what those four quadrants are. The B is business people, entrepreneurs, those that actually have various kind of businesses along in this world stratosphere, that are able to collaborate with people, create things, offering services or products. And at the end of the day, you find out that other people are working for you on that business. And over the years, the business will be giving you something that you can never imagine. Let's continue of where we're coming from. If you are from a poor family, what I always tell people is make sure a richer home is out of you. Because you don't want to be chasing income all the rest of your life. You want to be able to build a legacy, even if it's not going to be for yourself. Maybe you're saying you're not going to get married, or you're not going to be able to have children. But again, you have some generations that will be looking after you. There are some persons that are depending on you. And those pets are also depending on you, perhaps. I don't know where you're watching this from. But why not stop thinking about income and start thinking about assets, wealth-based. Now, I also say to people that income is linear in nature, while wealth is exponential in nature. Because when you look at the word income, it's only come from one source or two sources. Maybe you have multiple struggles, multiple jobs that you do to be able to keep yourself, But now, when you are in the wealth quadrant, you want to be able to see how your investment is yielding money for you, which is asset-based, or maybe stock-based, or maybe anything that can be generating money for you without you having input into that business or into that investment. That is what I call assets. That's what I call wealth. And asset classes, we've actually, some of our master classes, we talked about different type of asset classes, which I would advise you to go listen to on this YouTube channel or on this Apple podcast, or perhaps maybe you're watching this on TikTok or on Instagram. You can actually scroll through, subscribe, and be able to get some of the details on this. Now, nobody creates wealth without multiple streams in life. No matter what you do, no matter wherever you go in life, you can never create wealth with only one source of income. It has to be exponential in nature. It means you have to have multiple streams of income and not multiple streams of struggles. So friends, what are some of the practical ways you can practical example that you can help to be able to help you to move from that quadrant of salary earner to something? Because your salary will only pay you rent, will pay you transport, will pay food, will pay bills. At the end of the month, you go back to zero. Have you ever sat down to think about it? For example, maybe James that is watching this video, or Nadia that's watching this video. You only rely on income, but you don't know that when you die, nothing is going to be able to preserve for you. And again, this also comes to wealth as well. And at the end of the day, when you look at it, those money passes through you. They only come into your account and they flow into somewhere else. But if you build business, that money can actually be flowing through your business or through your community business. And you can also, if you have shares in it, if you have investment in it, you can also be part of it. Now, there are some of couple of businesses that we have within the RSEC Links community, which is if you want to invest into hotels, maybe in any countries, you want to be able to buy, maybe you want to invest into agricultural businesses, where you don't need to do anything. You'll be earning annually, or you'll be earning every month. And also it varies, it depends on what. Or perhaps you want to be able to invest into some of our businesses, some of our assets in the US, in the UK, where about 10 people, 5 people can actually own one property and you'll be earning rental income for life. How about that? So the thing is, you don't want to live through paycheck to paycheck. Another example is when we say, okay, a person, let's say Blessing, she earned $2,500 a month. At the end of the day, she lives in a smaller apartment. She saves and invests a smaller chunk of that money. And she also look at putting those smaller chunk of the money into mutual funds and shares and building emergency funds. Do you know that that is different from James, who was actually relying on that salary that only comes to pay rent, house bills, electricity bills, phone bills, and all the likes. And at the end of the day, the money flowed through him. But now, Blessing, a case study, she is actually looking at how to diversify the funds. Maybe about 20, 10, 20, 10, 10, 10, and or 5. I don't know. It depends on what kind of formula. You want to be able to divide your salary input into so that it can be able to sustain you for longer terms of wealth. I always tell people that wealth takes time. Because anything that wants to last in life will always take time. Maybe you have been thinking that, oh, I can't wait for 10 years, I can't wait for 15 years, I can't wait for 20 years. It means you're not ready to be able to build. Elon Musk did not just grow just like that. He went through, he was introduced, he paid some dues to become the world richest and building businesses today. Now, let's go straight forward to where we are. So, let's convert our own income into assets, and that is what I call wealth. James only pay bills. At the end of the day, nothing is left for James. Example is another one of high income but still struggling. Imagine a case of, let's say, Ayo, or let's say Paul. Paul actually earned about $10,000 every month, but he owned a luxury car. He owned an expensive lifestyles, high recurring bills, no investments, and if he stopped working, crisis kicks in. Do you know that high income doesn't equate to wealth? Lifestyle consumes everything. You don't want to live beyond 20-30% of your income that comes to your month. If you're living in a place where all your bills, whatever you pay, is over 30-40%, you're not in the right environment, friends. I know you want to maintain, you want to live among the wealthy people, the rich people, but you have to take time to build to get to that level. You don't want to be competing with people. You don't want to be living to be able to please others. You want to be able to please yourself and be able to have the peace and be able to build for your future. As an entrepreneur, there's a lot for you to learn. That is why I will implore you to get the book, The Wealth Code by Dr. Oluwasegun Julius Aroba, or Wealth Beyond the Lifetime. If you're a career person, get that book as well. Or maybe you own an institution, a business, or you're an investor, you need to get the book called Wealth Code and also Wealth Beyond the Lifetime. Those two books are very paramount. You can get the books at www.juliusaroba.com/shop.html www.juliusaroba.com/shop8.html. You get the books there and you can be able to say thank you for actually referring me to this book. Now, let's look at another. I've given you about 3 case studies. The 4th case study is a business owner. And I would name that business owner Fatima. Fatima owned a food business, but she worked hard daily. She trains her staff daily, weekly. She documents the process. She also expanded to second outlets so that the business can actually grow. Now, business runs even when she rests. Do you see that is a very good thing? Profit comes weekly. An explanation is, a business became a system, not just effort. And that system is what I call wealth. For example, in RSEG Link Services Limited, we have one of our business called RSEG Link Study Abroad. This business was actually bettered about 12 years plus now, and that business actually works 24 hours, irrespective of geolocation where you're based. We have staffs in Canada, we have staffs in the UK, we have staffs in Nigeria and in South Africa. And even when we are sleeping, the business is shaping itself. People are replying, people are submitting applications, people are processing the study visas and all the likes. That is how you want to be able to build a business. Because imagine if you fall sick for 1 month, for 3 months, what's going to happen in your business? Have you been able to solidify a system in place? If you're not, it's never too late. Why not start now? I know you've been thinking, the fear of unknown. There is a book I'm actually studying called The Jewish Phenomenon. In that book, the book actually talked about the process of fear of unknown, where it talks about the Jewish community, how the Torah started, and how the Talmud, and Talmud were actually being used. And in that book, there was a case study called Midrash. And they talked about the use case of the children of Israel, likening it to the Pharaoh, that if they get out of that city or that country as at that time, if they don't get out, they will still be stuck in the rat race. I don't know which country you're watching this or you're listening to this from. But the thing is, at the end of the day, the children of Israel had to face their fear. And when they got to that place, and they saw that the Egyptians are chasing them, Pharaoh people are chasing them. Now, there is nowhere for them to be able to cross. And the leader, they rely on the leader. There are people that actually listen to the voice. And the leader said, you know what, this is the business we've got to do, is to be able to use this same to cross to this water. And it got to a point when it got to the place, it was striking. At the end of the day, heaven commanded, heaven was able to pave way for them to be able to enter into that deep sea with the foot. Now imagine if Moses did not believe in a system called belief and faith. That, you know what, if I'm working in this rat race business of income and salary, I live on it month to month, day to day, how am I going to survive? Or if I get away now, how am I going to be able to get retirement? I know that is your problem. And I know it's not easy for you. And I know a lot of people are saying, you know what, if I leave this job now, how am I going to survive? I know, friends, fellow Zillionaires, I understand that this thing is not something that is so easy to be able to comprehend. You know, some people will say it's easy to say, but it's not easy to implement. I understand that. And that is where Nike started from. Nike said, you know what, no matter what we do, even when we fail in this business, we'll just do it. And that is where the logo comes from. The Nike is a case study as well that I actually studied a while ago. And their motto is just do it. Your business, income is different from wealth. I know you're thinking about, a lot of poor people always think about retirement. They always think about allowances. But when you build a system called business, you won't be able to be thinking low. Yes, I want you to think through it. I know it's not easy. I know you've been through working from shift to shift. You've been taking different things up and down, trying different things, it never works. I know it's not easy. But tell me, I can tell you, when I started my very first business when I was in college, I started selling airtimes, employing people to sell recharge cards, some fruit outlets. Before you know it, even selling some oil and gas. Before you know it, I started earning from there. But I took the deep faith. I launched out of my parents' home at the age of 17. I went to varsity, I commenced business in there. And from there, before I finished, I started my own company. And today, the company has grown globally. Now, I just use myself as a case study for you. But I know, I believe in you, that you can do far better. If you're able to think above income, you think about wealth, life is going to be easy for you. Number 5 case study, which is rental property. Imagine Jose or Samuel buys a small house, very small condo. Tenant pays rent every month. Or Jose comes together with Samuel. They buy a small house, a small condo unit, and the tenant is paying rent, and rent covers the mortgage. Property value increases over the years because whatever you buy in asset today does not remain the same. Tomorrow, the interest, it will be yielding, it will be increasing in value. Salary may help you buy it, but the property itself is wealth because it generates income and it grows in value. Another thing I can even advise you, in the country where you are, we also do what I call land banking. Sometimes we just buy those land, we keep it there for over a decade. I remember my very first land that I bought in 2010 in one capital state in African nation. And at the end of the day, that property has actually grew 700% to 1000% of the price model that I bought that property today. Imagine if I never bought that property as at that time. I thought the money was too much as a debt, but I bought it via cooperative. My very first landed property, 100 by 100. This day, people don't do 100 by 100 again, they do 100 by 50. Just be thinking through. I only built just a small fence on that land in a prime location. In another country, we bought hectares of land, over 170 plots. Few years ago, we just put fence around it. We perfected the documentations. And some years later, the president of a country bought massive land closer to that same land. Imagine what the value of that property is. That's what I call land banking. You buy the land, you already keep it there, it appreciates over the years. Income versus wealth. That's wealth. In your place, no matter where it is, I always tell people that if you want to buy property, just go to wherever, the city or the town of that city. Look at 20 minutes, 1 hour to the center drive, 1 hour to the north, to the west, to the east, to the south. From that place, no matter how, just 1 hour, buy a land there, to that city center, closer to that city center. Before you know it, that property will always generate wealth. 5 years, 10 years, it will never be remain the same. Last example I'm going to give you is what I called skill as wealth. Skill, craft, what you do. Another person, let's say a case study of Stephanie. Stephanie actually learns how to build rare digital skills. I remember one of my mentees called Jose. He came to live with us for about 3 months. And during that period, I told Jose, you know what? The best thing you can do now is to put in time and effort into what you're doing at the moment. Now, I know what you're doing in mechatronics is a very good one, but add AI into it. Do you know what? Jose took time. He started learning some of the AI components and the programming aspect of that. Do you know that that now became a craft for Jose now? Jose did not stop there. Even though he has a very good skill in building a website. At the end of the day, you know what Jose did? Now, because of the teachings and the mentorship over the years, he now said, you know what, sir, during my holiday, I had to partner with a friend. Now they commence a business for billboard, which is an outlet where you can actually shop for a billboard. You want to post anything in that country, you want to use a billboard in any location in that country. Now, Jose, they can't charge you, but they take their percentage from it. Do you see that that is the digital skill? Another case study. is that, do you know that even when you work for 9 to 5, you are doing a freelance by evening, you are creating online content, online courses. Do you know that years later, those courses will sell without your presence, because they might not be making money for now, but later, that the amount of views, the amount of people that listen to it, that watch it, you know that some digital platforms can actually pay you because you are attracting people. That is why your skill must become your intellectual property, and that is wealth. Now, let's differentiate it before we conclude it. Income is earned, wealth is owned. Income is temporal, but wealth is long-term. Income can be spent, but wealth is invested. Income can stop with work, but wealth continues without work. Finally, income changes today, but true wealth creates a better tomorrow. It is good to build wealth, and wealth can be passed down on while income can't be passed on. If you pass on, I don't know, maybe to glory, or maybe to wherever you come from, what are you going to pass on? Wealth or income? I remain your host again, your mentor, your coach, your mind surgeon. And my name is Dr. Julius Oluwasegun Aroba. God bless you. Share, like, and follow. God bless you.